Welcome to Community Conversations. I'm your host, Steve Mantis, and my guest today is Patty Hajdu, our Member of Parliament for Thunder Bay Superior North and the Minister for Employment, Workforce Development, and Labor.
Good.
My gosh, I got it. Well, welcome to the show, Patty.
Thank you so much, Steve.
Now, our regular viewers will know that I usually start with a little bit of personal history, but you've been on the show once or twice before, so they can always look at that. Those shows are all on YouTube. You can go and take a look on Community Conversations. But ask another kind of family piece, and that's about balancing family and your responsibility as a MP and now minister, which it like takes up 24 hours a day. Oh my gosh, how do you balance those family pieces? You have kids at home still?
I have one son living at home and one son in Thunder Bay. And of course, I have a long-term partner, and he has a daughter who's in the same age range, and she's in Ottawa. And then we have another son who is in Calgary, but he's 30. So the nice thing for me is all of my children are over 20. So they're not as dependent as, say, someone like Minister Freeland, who has 3 children who are all under, I think, 15 or so. So I'm fortunate in that way that they don't need the same day-to-day attention that perhaps small children need. But you raise a really important point. I mean, politics is very demanding. It's a lot of time on the road and a lot of time away. And so political relationships in particular are always strained. And actually the statistics are pretty shocking. I can't remember where I heard the statistic, but something in the range of 80% of political relationships fail. And so I spend a lot of time when I come home making sure that I include my partner, making sure that I get time to touch base with my kids on the weekend. We try to carve out Sunday mornings for breakfast, so some of the viewers will have seen me at various, usually north side breakfast spots. I like to support the riding, so Neva's and Roosters and all those great places. And then I also invite my partner to come with me to events in Thunder Bay as he wishes. So he's always an open invitation if there's a dinner or something that he can come with. And then, of course, he can visit in Ottawa, although he also works, and so it's challenging. And the children have visited in Ottawa a couple times as well. But it really is about intentional contact. So my kids can text me. They know that they may not get a text back immediately, but that I will get back to them. And it's working out well. It's a very different lifestyle, and it's not for everyone, but so far it's working out well for us.
Well, that's so good, because you've got such important position now in our federal government. Right after your appointment, you became the Minister for the Status of Women.
That's right.
And now it looks like it's a promotion from out here. You're now into a much bigger ministry with a much bigger kind of profile and staff and dollars. What's that change like in terms of your regular daily life now?
It is much busier, and you can tell from my title that I wear many hats in this new ministerial role.
I know. I mean, Labour used to be a standalone, and now you got that plus these other ones.
That's right. So I have a lot of activity all the time going on, and the department that I'm responsible for has 24,000 employees.
24,000.
I do share it though with 2 other ministers, Minister Duclos, whose focuses on social development and families, and then I also have Minister Qualtrough under the same part of her portfolio is people with disabilities, and that falls under ESDC as well. So it's a big job. I would say that I'm a little sad that we consider it a promotion, although I can see why people think that, because of course there is more money and I have legislative tools now that I didn't have necessarily at Status of Women. But I think the role at Status of Women is equally important in that it really is about pushing our government to have a better and louder conversation about gender and about equality and diversity. And I think that that role is very important. So I would never want to underestimate that role. And certainly I used all of the tools available to me to elevate the conversation about gender. But I am happy to be here as well. So
excellent. So I was just reading over your mandate letter from the Prime Minister, and I was intimidated just reading all the things that you've got to do. What out of that big list is an area that you really want to focus on in terms of what you want to accomplish as a minister?
Well, I think the Prime Minister probably expects me to do it all, and I will do my absolute best to do that. I mean, I sort of see it falling into some concrete chunks, though. The skills development piece is critical to our agenda of growing the middle class, making sure that our economy is strong. And I sit now with Minister Baines in the House of Commons, and of course, he's the Minister of Innovation, Science, Economic Development. So we always joke that he's the job creator, and I'm the person that's responsible for ensuring that Canadians have the skills to actually get those jobs. So it's a real partnership piece I see in terms of helping our government achieve that agenda of a strong and healthy and thriving middle class, helping those who are most vulnerable to join the middle class. So something that's near and dear to my heart, skills training for people who are vulnerable, who are underemployed, who are traditionally not well represented in the labor force, people with disabilities, women, newcomers, Indigenous people, and helping those folks move in. So that's very important. There's also a gender component. Many of the things I advocated for as the Minister of Status of Women has landed in my portfolio. So pay equity, introducing proactive legislative pay equity for the federal sector falls under my portfolio now. And so that will be introduced in 2018. We're working really hard on that right now. We've just started the consultations with the unions and with the employers and with the stakeholders to make sure that we get the legislation right and that it's usable and it's going to result in what we want it to result in, which is equal pay for work of equal value. I have a piece around addressing harassment and sexual violence in the workplace in the federally regulated sector as well, and that's underway. One of the aspects that we're just getting started on now and looking at how we can move forward is something called the Decent Work Agenda. You may be familiar with this because I know you've had a long history in politics yourself. About a decade or so ago, somebody named Arthurs wrote a report about how to improve decent work in our country. And it was really targeted at the federal sector, which is really the only sector I can control.
That was Professor Harry Arthurs?
Yes, and so my mandate letter specifically talks about a decent work agenda for federally regulated employers and employees. And so I'm looking forward to that. I think it's time that we have a conversation about equity in the workplace and making sure that people feel valued, well compensated, fairly compensated, and that we restore dignity to workers, especially those in the most vulnerable places. So a whole bunch of things, Steve.
I know, and now I've got like 20 questions to ask you. So we only have about a minute in this section. So in terms of skills development and accessing that for people on low incomes that you had mentioned, I'm part of our poverty reduction strategy, and we've identified that for some people that are on social assistance, going into a training program can actually reduce their amount of available income, and it becomes a real barrier. Where it costs people actually to leave the house and go to take skills training, and the integration with their benefits, it can be a barrier. Is that something your department is concerned about?
Well, we're always concerned about access. So yes, and we don't deliver the program directly through the federal level.
I know, it's really provincial.
Right. Well, we fund directly to programs, and so we work with programs to make sure that they're going to reach their targets. So if transportation is a barrier, for example, we want organizations to be thinking thoughtfully about that and making sure that they are eliminating barriers to the training. So it depends on the stream of funding, but
we got to hold it right there. We have to take a short break. We'll be right back.